Canellis on a Wednesday night edition of Chicago Sports Tonight. Bears and Packers headline the weekend's playoff action. Every network wanted the game. Fox 32 Chicago has it after the Rams and Panthers on Saturday. By the way, the NFL announced today the kickoff will be pushed to 7:10 Chicago time. Bears today went all in, preparing for a new season, the playoffs. They had a full practice for the first time this week. Kyler Gordon, Rome Odunze, and Ozzie Trapilo were back in a limited fashion. And we'll talk about Gordon's return in a minute with Cassie Carlson and the Athletic's Dan Wiederer. Packers were getting ready in Green Bay. Head coach Matt LaFleur this morning expecting Soldier Field to be even more electric than his first game as Packers head coach. The NFL's primetime season opener back in 2019 when the Bears celebrated their 100th season.
I just think back to that atmosphere, how crazy, and just the anticipation for the game. It was a great atmosphere.
Everything's just like a little bit bigger, a little bit more media, a little bit more, people talking about it before the game, and then, when the game comes, it's, there's kind of that buzz, on the field, and the stand's a little more full during warm-up, and so there's, little things, but at the end of the day, it still is a football game, 60 minutes, maybe more, who knows, but it's a great excitement, great feel about it.
It's amazing. It's amazing. If you love football, if you got any competitive bone in your body, you love playing these type of games. The fans make it better, though.
In 7 seasons, LaFleur has been Green Bay's head coach. This is his 6th time to the playoffs. He knows a little bit about playoff football. He's also seen Caleb Williams develop. Sacked 68 times last season, running for his life. This year, Caleb broke the single-season passing yards record for the Bears.
We've seen him grow and progress as the season's advanced, and he's made a lot of big-time plays. He did it, obviously, in our game, both games. Then you see it in San Francisco, and, you got to be very careful when you're playing a player of his caliber in regards to what he is able to do. There's been situations, you see it all over tape, where, there's no way this guy's going to get out of the pocket here. He gets out of the pocket. And then you hear that, you want to keep him in the pocket, and then he's making throws from in the pocket. So I just think he's progressed, and he's developed, and he's playing at a high level right now.
Jordan Love practiced today, and he's healthy, working on a 1-2 playoff record. 2024, he looked great against the Cowboys, but then lost to the Niners in the divisional round in 24 and 2025.
We got a lot of young guys. It'll be their first playoffs. My first playoff game, we went in there and did some good things. So it just comes down to going out there, like I mentioned, and playing your best ball, having a great week of prep, staying focused all week in the plan, and just, staying mentally dialed in all week.
The Bears finished up the regular season with football's #2 red zone defense at home. Bears fans, hey, that's a testament to you and the noise you're making when the opponents have the football inside the Bears 20. I know you're going to bring it Saturday night at 7 o'clock. I also know that Cassie Carlson and the Athletic's Dan Wiederer are going to bring it right now from Hallis Hall here on a Wednesday night edition of CST. What's up, guys?
Happy Wild Card Week, Lou. It's exciting to be here. It's a lot busier at Hallis Hall than it normally is, so you can feel the playoff buzz.
There's a buzz, for sure, and it's long overdue.
It sure is. It sure is, Dan. It's been 5 years. You both had a chance to talk to the coordinators today, and defensive coordinator Dennis Allen admitted Spider-Man is coming to the rescue of the secondary, right?
Well, he said he is in their plans as they get ready to prepare for the Green Bay Packers for a third time in a matter of nearly a month. And so I think that's a little bit surprising given the fact that Kyler Gordon has had multiple stints on IR. He's only played in 3 games this season, and they have all been soft tissue injuries. And then the last time he tried coming back, he actually re-injured something in pregame warmup. So a little shocking to me, but there is a sense of urgency given the fact that C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who is filling in for Kyler Gordon, is in concussion protocol, and Ben Johnson said that lasts at least a week. So I think there is a hope that Kyler Gordon can be back, but I think it's similar to the Jalen Johnson situation that I don't know that he would be 100%.
Yeah, I mean, there have been so many starts and stops with Kyler Gordon really since the summer, and so you don't know how much you can really lean into him and expect him to produce. but it is also the playoffs, and it's all hands on deck, and it's whatever you can do to find a way to survive Saturday night. And so Kyler Gordon will try to give it his best, and we'll see what they're able to squeeze out of him.
Hey, guys, how did Allen feel about Jaquan Brisker questioning the defensive scheme against Detroit? Or was he even asked that question?
He wasn't asked that question today. I think more so when you talk to Dennis Allen coming off of poor games or losses, he's more so focused on what's ahead and doesn't want to talk about things much. But here is what he did say about what they need to fix, especially as they get ready for the Packers.
Just consistency in what we're doing. And getting off the field on third down, I think that's probably been, probably the biggest, issue that we've had. I mean, part of it is we've played some really good teams the last couple of weeks, some really good offenses. And yet last week we played a team that, we held them to 19 points. So, and ultimately that's what the goal is to limit the points and give yourself a chance to win.
Interesting to hear Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator, echo the similar message that Ben Johnson said on Monday, is this is clearly a bend, don't break defense. And while they have given up a big chunk of yards throughout games, last game in particular, they held them and got stops in the red zone. And that's what they're really focusing on as they go through the playoffs, because you can't limit the explosives with this defense.
Well, it's crazy because they were very good the last time they played Green Bay in the red zone. They were very good against the Lions in the red zone. And then sandwiched in the middle was an awful performance in the red zone in San Francisco. And so you've got to figure out who you are here in a big moment on Saturday night against the Packers. And I think this Bears defense all year has found ways to either make stops in the red zone or come up with the timely takeaway. That's going to be absolutely necessary to win this game on Saturday night.
Well,
Guys,
Lou, I want to keep going on this because, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I want you to jump in, Cassie. Go for it.
Yeah, because Dennis Allen mentioned third down defense, and I think that could be a critical part of this game. Just looking at how the Bears defense has been on third down, it's around 40% on the season, but the last 3 games it's been 54%, and Green Bay's offense is second best at converting on third down. So I think right there is kind of case in point of you need to find a way to get stops against Jordan Love, who has a plethora of weapons in his offense with his receivers.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Love. That was my next question, because I know Jordan Love wants the Bears to blitz him. Go for it, because he tore it up last time. So how are the Bears going to put pressure on this guy?
It's really hard because they haven't been able to generate significant pressure all season long. And I think at some point you just realize who you are. You're obviously going to have to find some ways to time up some extra rushers that get home. Right? You can't just send blitzes and then not have them get home, because they've been made to pay for that, including by Jordan Love in that game at Lambeau Field last month. And so you just have to, you really have to find your strategic wrinkles this week to make this quarterback uncomfortable, maybe not for the whole game, but at timely moments that can swing the game in your favor. We'll see what they come up with.
Well, I think that's kind of what Jaquan Brisker, when he was talking about the fact of how they were defending the Lions last week. I think the matter of fact is it doesn't really matter how this secondary is defending, if it is man or zone, because without the pass rush, it's nearly impossible to cover a lot of these speed demons that these receivers are, especially that the Lions had. And I think it could be a similar case against the Packers too. So if you can find a way to get pressure with your front four, which the Bears haven't consistently been able to do this season, it would be great. I think that's one of the huge things that Dennis Allen is going to have to find a way to cook up on Saturday.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, offensive coordinator Declan Doyle also spoke today to the media. What did he have to say?
Well, I think the thing, building off of what Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson talked about yesterday, is the fact that Caleb is a completely different quarterback than he was at the start of this time last year in January when Ben Johnson was hired, even at the start of training camp, and that he has clearly shown that he is built for these moments. And so as he tries to turn the page, coming off of 2 losses, Declan Doyle very pleased with his approach as he enters this week.
He's been outstanding. The biggest thing is that it doesn't change. Because it's a playoff atmosphere, because things ramp up, you don't want everything to be different. You want it to be routine. You want it to be, hey, this is, we've been building to this point, and he's been locked in, and we're excited to go see him play.
Listen, Cassie, this is not a perfect Bears offense. We know that by now. They are flawed, but they have two things that you can really lean on that give you confidence going to Saturday night. Number one is a quarterback who's shown an ability to rise up and meet the big moments when the big moments are there. And then you've got this running game that's been the NFC's best for almost the entirety of the second half of the season. And you've got an ability to lean on that against the Packers defense that's been a little bit vulnerable against the run in recent weeks, including against the Ravens a few weeks ago when Derrick Henry went wild. And so you feel like you have answers in your bag that you can pull out Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up, Dan, the Bears' running game, because other than the Williams DJ Moore miracle overtime touchdown, man, the Bears have not led the Packers in either game, and it's really tough to depend on your real good running game, right, when you're always playing from behind. So do you think, after talking to Declan Doyle, that running the football is going to be a point of emphasis in this game for the Bears?
In my opinion, absolutely. I mean, they have to lean on that. They know that that's their strength. They know that their offensive line can get it done. They know that the backs, led by DeAndre Swift, can have a nice night at Soldier Field on Saturday night. And so squeeze the most out of that as you can, and then let the other stuff be complements to that as you go forward. And then obviously you get into the fourth quarter, you play the game flow, you play the situation, and you see where you're at.
Yeah, I agree. I think the leaning on the offensive line and the experience they have now brought into this building that is up there with the front five is going to be crucial throughout the entire playoffs, because it goes back to a conversation that I think you have just generically speaking when talking about teams that can make runs in the postseason, and it's those that run the ball and those who have a good defense. And while the Bears were talking about a defense that has a lot of holes on it, being the third best rushing offense in the league is how they got to this point and being able to stick with a lot of these teams and wear down a lot of these defenses. I think the big problem that we saw last week is that the offense just couldn't stay on the field. And so if you can sustain drives by establishing the run, take some time off the clock, give your defense a little bit of a break, I think you're putting yourself in a much better situation throughout the entirety of the game than just getting off the field so quickly.
Yeah, they've lost the time of possession battle last, 3 weeks. Bears scored 3 points total in the first half of the two games with the Packers, Cassie. They talk about working on better starts as well?
Oh, yeah, of course, especially the way they came out last week against the Lions, just completely flat. You know, I think that's an energy, it's a focus, it's an understanding, the urgency. And I think now that you sense the frustration that came out of the game in Week 18, that is all being channeled into energy and urgency, as Caleb Williams said yesterday. And I think Kevin Byard, someone who has playoff experience, I think he had a really great kind of way to compare this season to a former season of his when he was in Tennessee. It was one of his earlier seasons, and he said, you know, we were not supposed to be in the AFC Championship game. Yeah. We were told we didn't have all the pieces there yet, but for some reason we went on this run, and a lot of it is just that it's this new season, they have momentum, and he said you have to empty the tank every single day and be mentally so sharp that you're exhausted by the end of Saturday night. And so I think that really it comes down to probably who's the more mentally tough team, because that would translate into playing cleaner football too.
Yeah, listen, I thought KB set a great tone here on Tuesday in talking about his own rejuvenation and then just the purpose that this team has to play with going into the playoffs. Nothing's promised beyond this week. And so you have to realize that. You have to realize the stakes. You have to realize the urgency that's there, and that means getting off to a fast start.
All right. Anything different at Halas Hall? I'm glad you brought that up, Dan, because I wanted to talk about, as we wrap this up, I wanted to talk about the team attitude. You guys have been there all year long. You guys are inside the locker room. We started the interview, Cassie. You're like, welcome to playoff week. What about for the players, for the coaches? Do you sense anything different, or is it just business as usual?
I think Ben Johnson looks exhausted. But besides that, I mean, they are trying to keep it as routine as possible. I don't think you want to treat this. I mean, everyone knows what's at stake. It is win or go home. You are going up against the Green Bay Packers in the wild card round. You're in the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. I don't think you need to tell people that you need to get up for this game. I think it's all about maintaining kind of the level-headedness. Yes, they're going to be excited. They're going to be jumpy when they take the field, and it is loud at Soldier Field. But you also have to make sure that you are playing within yourself and not playing this like out-of-body experience, and I think that's where the penalties come into play.
Cassie, I'm glad you brought that up, because I thought the start of the last Green Bay game was really representative, where you have the opening kickoff and DeMarco Jackson is jumping on top of a pile, and in the moment you're like, oh boy, this isn't good, but then you scale back and you're like, no, this is good. It's good for this team to get this experience, to understand that that type of uncontrolled aggression isn't good. You've got to be able to control the enthusiasm and the adrenaline, and you've got to apply it to the details, which is something that Ben emphasized emphasizes every single day here the players have responded to. It's why they won 11 games. It's why they're hosting a home playoff game Saturday night.
Crazy.
All right, we need to take a timeout. Thanks to those guys. Coming up, the Cubs make a big splash and bring in a pitcher to the north side. Matt Spiegel from The Score will join us to break it all down right after this on CST. Welcome back to Chicago Sports Tonight. Luke and Ellis with you. Cubs needed an arm to add to their starting pitching rotation. Today they made a deal. They traded for right-hander Edward Cabrera, but they had to give up Owen Casey and two hitting prospects. The Score's Matt Spiegel, host in the afternoons with Lawrence Holm, host of Hit and Run, joins us right here. First, let me run down the numbers on Cabrera because the Cubs pick up Cabrera. This guy is coming off a career-best 353 earned run average last season, along with career highs in starts, innings pitched, and strikeouts. And he's under team control. I like this for the next 3 seasons as well. And this team needed to add an arm to its starting rotation. So the obvious question is, and I know you talked to the fans when you and Lawrence announced the trade on The Score earlier this afternoon, and there were some fans that pushed back, didn't like it. What do you think? Do you like it?
It's not a perfect acquisition, but it's really, really a good arm. They needed a top of the rotation, power right-hander who could miss bats, get a lot of strikeouts, and be capable of being a playoff starter. This guy, in terms of his stuff and his ceiling, is all of that. He's got an unbelievably great power changeup. Maybe you know some of the other pitchers out of Miami, like Sandy Alcantara, Pablo Lopez, who's now in Minnesota. Sixto Sanchez is another one. They all throw this power changeup. It's a changeup, but it's at like 91 or 92 miles an hour. Edward Cabrera throws the hardest changeup in baseball. So that's a plus pitch. He's got a curveball that might be the best of all starting pitchers' curveballs.
Wow.
Another plus pitch. Then he's got a 98-mile-an-hour sinking fastball. He's had trouble controlling that in his career. This past year, his best year ever at controlling it. His walk rate got below 10 for the first time in his career. If that is the developmental arc that you have logged onto right now, you're talking about a guy who truly has potential to be an absolute ace at the top of a rotation. There are other concerns, and we can get into them. But in terms of what they needed, a really good right-handed power arm, this is about as good as they could have done of any of the possibilities, including free agents in this offseason.
And he's making $3 million for what? The next 3 years? I get it. There's jumps there. but you're not ponying up $20 million for a guy at his age either.
Yeah, no, you ponied up $22 million for Shota Imanaga with the qualifying offer that he took. This guy's making 3.5. He doesn't change any of the possibilities for this offseason. If you really are a player for Alex Bregman or somebody like that, or some other offensive arm, you can still go out and get that person. So, yeah, there are possibilities for this year in what should be a go-for-it season. They should be going for it, and this is a sign that they are. And frankly, it's a huge sigh of relief, it should be anyway, to all Cub fans who haven't seen them be active. They haven't done much except in the bullpen. This, at least, is an aggressive move for a power righty arm with a serious upside. Now what are they going to do to replace the offense?
All right, before we move on to KC and replacing the offense and talking about possibilities out there, tell me why fans don't like the move.
Well, because this guy has had a lot of minor injuries over the past few years. He just had a jump in 2025 in innings, 40 more innings than he's had in any season. So there's been that. And frankly, there's been some talk out of Florida that this is a guy who might not know exactly if he's hurt or just a little achy. He's a young guy. He's a pitcher. He's learning what it is to pitch through some discomfort. But again, 2025, a really good trend in that way. And you're bringing him into a big-time organization with a big-time pitching infrastructure and a medical staff. This is an opportunity for you to get your hands on an incredible raw tool like this. So I think it's absolutely worth the risk.
All right, came into the league back in 2021. He's improved every season that he's pitched on this level. Last season was his best. We talked about that. And now he is added to a rotation where Cade Horton is your ace, followed by Matthew Boyd, and then Cabrera. Cabrera would be your number 3?
I think Cabrera would slot in as your 3 with the capability of even to be thought of higher than that. But you've got Jameson Taillon, you've got Justin Steele in May, you've got Shota Imanaga, you've got Javier Assad, you've got Colin Ray. You need all those guys. What did we just see in the playoffs against the Milwaukee Brewers? They had more guys than you that they could bring in bulk. Don't even think of it as starters. I need somebody to give me 4 dominant innings, 5 dominant innings. Add this guy to your pile. Maybe they'll get another. Maybe there's another cheap free agent out there or somebody they could take a flyer on, another power righty who misses a lot of bats. You need a lot of those guys. This is a great piece to add to your pile.
All right, respond to the fans who are screaming right now, watching, who said, oh my gosh, you gave up another top prospect. You gave up Cam Smith last year.
Yeah.
And now you gave up Owen Casey. What does that mean? Where's the big bat coming from? Is Kyle Tucker maybe sticking around?
Well, the first thing is that you're trying to win now. And this is an acknowledgement that you are trying to win now. And maybe ownership is not giving Jed Hoyer all the money that he needs to go out and just buy talent. So deal with what you can, and you trade for what you can do. You don't know for sure that Owen Casey is one of those guys who's going to convert AAA power to big league power. You don't know it for sure. Frankly, you have not played him that much in the big leagues.
12 games last year.
Maybe you've masked that possibility that he might not be that guy. Miami's taken a flyer on it. So it's an interesting cost in that way. Now, maybe Seiya Suzuki is going to play a lot of right field for you. Is he going to play 130, 140 games in right field? He was a lot better at it last year. If that's the case, then Moises Ballesteros can be your DH, and you'll still add another bat like that. Or maybe they're back in the mix for an outfielder. I'd be surprised if Kyle Tucker comes back into play. I wouldn't be surprised if Cody Bellinger comes back into play. Cody and his young wife, their young family, they loved it here. And he has now had to sign kind of prove-it deals multiple years in a row. He drives the bus. Remember, Scott Boras followed Cody's lead to bring him here in the first place. I wouldn't be surprised if his name comes back up.
I saw Bo Bichette's name mentioned as well, Alex Bregman.
Those both surprised me to see mentioned. I think both of them are in line to get like 6 years and 150 or that kind of thing. I have a hard time seeing the Cubs doing that. But again, it's possible because of the 3.5 that Cabrera is making. I just hope that if they do a move like that or a Bellinger, that it does not mean they trade the guy I hope they don't trade.
And that is?
Nico Hoerner.
Yeah, I want to talk about Hoerner because I saw something yesterday that involved Hoerner getting traded to the Yankees.
Yeah, man, I hate it. Nico, look, it makes sense as a data point, as a line item, because he's making, 12.5 this year, and it's the last year of his deal, so you got to be dispassionate and do that. But he's such a valuable player. He really is.
He's so consistent there.
And you know what? He's not so valuable that he's going to break the bank. I think I have some renewed
You don't
optimism.
have to worry about second base. That's the issue.
Well, and he hits at the top of the order, and you're
Yeah.
just coming off a postseason where Toronto proved you need contact as well. I think that it's possible that Nico might be in a sweet spot to sign the rare second extension. He is not valuable enough to really break the bank league-wide. He's smart enough to know that and accept that, and he's beloved enough that you might be able to both come to the table and work something out. So I'm hoping for that.
I saw that the Cubs also picked up another reliever today as well.
Yeah, they signed
Ryan Rollison.
Yeah, signed a kid off waivers from the White Sox. So, I don't know a lot about Ryan Rollins.
What else would you like to see the Cubs do during this offseason?
I do want to see them get one more bat, and there's some lower-ranking outfield bats that you could consider. I wouldn't mind even another righty power arm that could swing between the bullpen and the rotation, or you could get another, righty caliber closer. But we'll see. Maybe they're going to try to piecemeal the bullpen. This feels pretty good, but a big bat still needs to come.
By the way, happy 42nd birthday to John Lester today.
Oh, how about that?
How about that?
I suspect we'll see him at the convention for the 2016
That's right.
reunion, don't you?
Convention coming up next weekend,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. How about Lackey, Arietta,
I'm
Hayward
excited
ought to be
see
there. Joe
everyone.
Madden's going to be
I see Hayward
there.
around town. I love Joe Madden. I can't wait to see him back. I can't let you off set without talking a little Bears.
Let's go, man.
How jacked are you about this game on Saturday? By the way, post-game show, we're carrying the game here on Fox Chicago on Saturday, 7:10. They move kickoff from 7:05 to 7:10. We will have the game, and then afterwards, Matt Spiegel on set with yours truly, Tina Wynn, Pat the designer as well. We're going to have locker room reaction also here from Caleb Williams and the head coach, Ben Johnson. Tell me, where do the Bears sit? How do you feel about this game? Are they going to take two from the Packers this year?
God, I hope so. I'm excited about it. I don't really feel that nervous about it.
Tell me why. I mean, one would look and say, man, the way we saw San Francisco, the Packers in the first game, or second game actually, and then Detroit tear up that defense, you've got fans out there a little worried.
Hey, man, this team is 9-0 when they get 2 turnovers or more. When they only get 1 or 0, they're 2-6. I think they're getting 2. I just think they are. I think the energy at that place is going to be like it was when I was there a month ago for that Saturday night game. I was in the stands. That place was crackling and violent and ferocious, and they were a little out of control at the beginning. But I think they're going to be more under control emotionally, and I think that defense is going to make big. I think they're going to sit back in the zone and force Green Bay to use 10 or 15 plays to get down the field every time. They're going to tackle hard. They're going to strip that ball, get a couple turnovers, and I think the Bears get it done.
30 seconds. Tell me about the Bears offense. You like Caleb going into a game like this? He loves playing on the big stage, going back to his high school days.
He's earned my trust, and that feels really cool to be able to say. I want to see him run it down the throat of the pack.
Yes.
132 rushing yards the first game, 150 the second game. Green Bay just gave up 307 to Baltimore. Run it down their throat, control the clock, make them antsy when they're on offense.
Thank you for stopping by.
Love it.
And I look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
That'll be a fun one.
All right, Matt Spiegel joining us tonight. Also, thanks to Cassie Carlson, the Athletics Dan Weeder, for joining us as well from Hallis Hall. We are just 3 days away from the Bears and Packers from Soldier Field, and I cannot wait. Have a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.